But here's another amazing fact. Who do you think owns these corporations? You know, you remember there was a day where somebody actually owned General Motors or owned Ford. Mm-hmm. They're now owned by Wall Street firms. You got 3 Wall Street investment firms. BlackRock, you're familiar with BlackRock. They're
Vanguard
giant.
and State Street.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Check it out on Google. They are combined, the 3 of them combined, are the major stockholders of 95% of American corporations. How's that?
That's not good.
That's power.
Right. How did that start, and what could have been done to stop that from happening?
Well, I think it's greed. These guys are smart. They're hardworking. They're motivated. They want more and more. So if I can buy this, I can buy this, I can sell this.
Right, but they're all doing it within the law, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But
which is that the problem?
Yeah. But who makes that law?
They do.
Now, I want to go to another issue.
Yeah.
Which is very rarely discussed. All right? You ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right, hang on.
Okay.
There we go. And is the problem I think that we face as a country is not just economic disparities and all the stuff that we're talking about, the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. It is political power. Right now, and I doubt that there are many Americans, whether you're a progressive as I am or a right-wing Republican, I don't think people can disagree that we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Argue with me? You agree?
No, I agree with you. Okay. Yeah.
All right, so let me talk about what it means.
Okay.
As a result of the Citizens United Supreme Court decision, I think it's 15, 16 years old, what it says is you're a billionaire. You have now the constitutional right, because your money is your freedom of expression, right? So you don't like Bernie Sanders, you can put millions or hundreds of millions of dollars into a campaign and express your view about how terrible Bernie Sanders is,
right.
And you can buy that election, right? That's your constitutional right. I think that's probably the worst decision that the Supreme Court has ever made. So what is the result of that decision? The result of that decision, let's take us to where we are today, is that Elon Musk, and I know Elon was on your show, and he's here in Austin, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And we could talk about Elon, but he spent $270 million to elect Trump as president. Okay. I think that's absurd that any one person.
What's the most someone donated towards the Harris campaign?
They spent a lot of money on Harris as well.
They spent $1.5 billion just
combined
over the course of a couple of months.
You got it. All right, let me talk about it. So
yeah,
I'm not here just to say it's
that.
a Republican. That's my point here.
Right.
Okay. So Musk spends that money, and what's his reward? He becomes the most powerful person in government for 3 or 4 months. Okay, fine. But what you have right now, and I just saw this the other day, you are a Republican member of Congress, okay? And you say, there's a reconciliation bill, which we can talk about in a minute, that this is Trump's big, beautiful bill that's coming up literally on the floor of the Senate very shortly. So let's say you're a Republican representing a low-income district. And you say, I got a lot of people on Medicaid in my district, and kids can't get to college, and I worry about food programs. I don't think it's a good idea to give tax breaks to billionaires and cut back on Medicaid. You make that announcement today, what happens to you?
It's over. You get attacked.
You're finished.
The swarm comes for you.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's not a swarm. It's
the problem is it's already been established, right? That these laws have been established. The power has been given to these people. The money has started flowing, and it's been flowing for a long time now. And this is the issue with starting something that you can't stop.
Well, you can stop it.
You can stop
and you got to stop it.
Okay, but if you do stop it, all these people are going to throw all their money at stopping you from stopping, correct? Right?
Exactly.
They're going to come up with the best commercials with American flags. This country's all about competition and freedom.
You got it.
The freedom to donate to the party of your choice.
You got it.
Yeah.
Good.
Stop these communists.
Hey, stop. You're writing their ads for them. They're going to pick it up. With the American,
I could write them.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
really.
could all write. But then we got to take a deep breath and figure out where do we go from there. Now, I wanted to, in my point, as you know, I am the longest serving independent in American history.
Yes.
I caucus with the Democrats, I always have, but you can't hear me defending the Democratic Party on this issue because you're right. During the election, it wasn't just Musk and Republicans putting a lot of money into Trump. It was Democratic billionaires putting a lot of money into Kamala and into other candidates as well. And I mentioned there's a guy named, I don't even know his first name, Mr. Massey. Is that name ring a bell?
Thomas Massey.
Thomas from Kentucky.
Yeah.
And this guy as I am, is opposed to this war in Iran. Just yesterday, Trump gave a long post about how they're going to primary this guy. And what bothers me is you would hope that there would be respect enough for members of Congress that you can vote your own conscience. You could, represent your constituency. Every district is different in America. But right now, anybody stands up and say, well, I disagree with President Trump. Bam, you are finished. We're going to primary you. We got all kinds of money. You're out of there. That happened to Massey yesterday. But let me go back to the Democrats.
Point something out. Don't you think that there's a Streisand effect to that? Don't you think that there's a blowback for that kind of thing when people recognize that this guy should be allowed to have his own opinions and make some reasonable points, and that people are going to reject this idea?
Maybe.
And that it's not as simple as I think the whole MAGA thing right now is very divided, particularly because one of the things that they voted for was no war. Well, now it seems like we're in a war, right? So and it's quick. We're 6 months in, and that's already popped off. And then people are very concerned with now what happens to our troops overseas that are in these bases, that are in vulnerable positions, and what happens with. There's supposedly documented terror cells that got in through the open border over the last 4 years. So what happens now in America? What happens on American soil?
Sure. No, I agree with those.
When a guy like Thomas Massey steps up and says something like that, he's going to have a lot more support as well.
The answer is yes. And my only point is he has a right.
Yes.
Somebody else says, hey, I think the war is a great idea. Fine, that's your
Right.
view. You got to go back. But what bothers me is that if anybody stands up, the next day, we're going to primary. You're out of here, man. And that's the Republicans. Let me talk about the Democrats for a moment, okay? And I don't even know your views on this, so you may disagree with me. Israel was attacked by Hamas, and Hamas is a terrible terrorist organization. They killed 1,200 people, which in a small country like Israel is a lot of people. Terrible, terrible attack. It's a war crime. Israel had a right, in my view, to defend itself. But the Netanyahu government did not have a right to kill 52,000 people in Gaza, wound well over 100,000. And right now, as we speak, Joe, children are starving to death because of Israel's blockades.
Yeah.
Starving to death. And I brought forth 2 resolutions, which basically were very simple, and they said no more U.S. military aid to Israel under these conditions. One vote got 15 votes in the Senate, the other one got 16. Do you think that members of the Senate do not know what's going on in Gaza? The kids are starving to death. The innocent people are being shot down right and left. They know it. Why do you think I couldn't get more votes?
They wouldn't vote against Israel.
Right.
It's political suicide.
Now you're talking.
Right.
All right. So in the Republican side, you have moneyed interests saying you speak up against Trump, you're out of here. In the Democratic side, you speak up against the Netanyahu government, you're out of here as well. And they have been successful. You have super PACs like AIPAC spending a fortune. You stand, and they have already knocked off a number of members of Congress, good members of Congress, and they will do it again. So all I'm saying is you got a corrupt campaign finance system on both sides, which is rejecting the will of the American people and end up supporting powerful special interests. And if we do not get a handle on that issue, I worry very much about the future of American democracy.
Are you going to run for president again?
I am 83 years of age.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure the American people will be enthusiastic because somebody's 108.
You're still very with it.
Thank you.
You are.
Well,
you're a couple years older than Biden.
Yeah.
Right? Think of that.
Yeah.
You could be off a lot worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We have been running around the country doing what we call a fighting oligarchy tour, which is why I'm here in Texas. We were in Fort Worth last night, had a good turnout. And I think, interestingly enough, Joe, it's not most of the people. We know the people who come out to our rallies. We have a big list of millions of people. But a lot of people are coming to our rallies that we don't know, and I think we know that some of them are Republicans and some of them are independents. Many of them are independents. Because I think across the board, there is growing dissatisfaction with the current politics in America, both parties. And people want a new vision for America, which is also something we don't talk a whole lot about. So, the issues that we talk about is in the richest country on earth, why don't we have the best healthcare system in the world? Why do we have 85 million people who are uninsured or uninsured? And as you were mentioning a moment ago, he deals with the insurance companies and the drug companies. And the function of the current healthcare system is to make these guys very rich, and it works. They make zillions of dollars. And every place you go, in my state, the cost of healthcare is going up this year like 10, 15%. People can't afford it. And we lose thousands of people every year. People get sick. They can't afford to go to the doctor. They die. So, one of the fights that I hope we can win is to have the United States join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a human right.